What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of JMCooks. Today we're making something pretty exciting. I was inspired by Persona 4 Golden, which I have a full playthrough on this channel, JM Casual. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. We're making something straight out of the game. We're going to be making Omurice.
How is it?
Wow, this tastes awful.
Omelette rice. It's a classic Japanese dish. Very commonly eaten in Japan, as far as I know, and they make it in Persona 4, and they don't do a very good job of it. They really screw it up, but hopefully we'll do a little bit better than that today. Let's run down our ingredients for today's dish. All right, so for omurice, we're making fried rice, and then we're making an omelet that kind of goes on top. So for our fried rice, the ingredients I got here, we got a carrot, red bell pepper. I have some already cooked chicken. I made this, I don't know, like 2 days ago. You can use whatever meat you have on hand. You can use beef, chicken, pork, sausage, bacon if you want. Doesn't really matter. This is a great dish for throwing in leftovers. So if you have some leftovers in your kitchen you're trying to get rid of, this is a great way to do it. We got some garlic. We have a very petite hot pepper. This actually came from my garden, which I could show you guys. This is my quote-unquote garden. I mean, it's just one pot, but I got some peppers growing. I had some ones that were they were starting to cork, which is these lines you see. And I read online that if it starts to look like this, and you can see it's turning a little red too, it's getting to the point where it's like getting really ripe, so you should probably pick it. So even though this is a baby, because it's the first one, it was part of the first ones I got of the season, there is a lot of heat in there, so that's nice. It's a jalapeno, if I didn't mention that. We got some eggs. These are for the omelet, obviously. We got some leftover rice. This dish works best with leftover rice, but if you don't have leftover rice, you can just make fresh rice. What I would recommend is spread it out on like a sheet pan or a plate, because what you really want is you want the rice to be really dry, because then when you fry it, it's going to be way better. If it's soggy, it's not going to fry up nice at all. So you want the really dry rice that you get from leftovers. And also, 1 onion. I forgot to say this earlier. And we're going to be making a really simple sauce out of some tamari. You can use soy sauce. I just happen to have tamari. I don't have any soy sauce right now. And we're going to use ketchup. So, okay, this dish, ketchup is pretty central to this dish. I know a lot of Americans might be kind of disgusted by the concept of ketchup with eggs or ketchup and rice, but I assure you, this is traditional. In Japan, they all eat it like this. They all eat it like this. This is just the classic flavor for omurice. So that's what we're doing, and I promise it's good. If this grosses you out, if ketchup with eggs and rice really grosses you out, I promise it's really good. You can try it. If you don't want to do it, though, you can, just skip the ketchup. You can just use soy sauce, or maybe you could try like tomato paste or something. I don't know. But I think it works really, really great with the ketchup. So that's what I'm going to do. But obviously, you can do whatever you want. It's a free country. Okay, so we're going to prepare our mies here. Okay, so I peeled this carrot off screen because I wanted to do it over the trash can to catch it. I'm going to use like half the carrot. So I'm making enough for 1 person because honestly, like I'm making this in a small pan, and so I can't fit 2 portions in here. I've tried this in other pans. I've tried it in stainless steel, but the problem is the rice just sticks to it too hard. I feel like you really have to make this in a non-stick pan. So if you have a bigger non-stick pan than me, you can make multiple servings in one. But I'm just cooking for me, and this is the biggest non-stick pan I have. So we're making a serving for 1, but if you're making this for 2, you can just double everything, or etc. So I'm going to cut this carrot up. Okay, I do have some big pieces here. I cut it kind of unevenly, but it's not the end of the world. And so I'm going to group these ingredients up based on how fast they cook. So the carrots and the bell pepper cook the slowest, so they're going to go onto the heat first. But we're just going to prep everything before we even get the stove turned on. So, okay, next up the bell pepper. I'm going to use about half of this too. This ended up being quite a lot of pepper, but, I like red bell peppers. I think they taste delicious. So I'll scoop that up. And again, I'm putting this with the carrots because, I'm just going to throw these in at the same time. They both take the longest to cook out of everything we're putting in here. We're going to use probably a little less than half the onion. But again, if you're making multiple servings, you can use more of the onion. So yeah, the onion is going to cook a little bit faster than the pepper and the carrots, I think. So we're going to put that in a separate thingy, and we'll be adding that to the heat after we add the first thingy. And then along with that onion, we are going to add 1 clove of garlic. I'm just going to smash and peel this. Okay, there we go. It's peeled. I'm just going to dice it up kind of fine here. I guess you would call this mincing. I'm going to mince it up. Seems pretty good to me. And I'm just going to throw this in with the onion. We're going to put those in at the same time. Now we're going to do our chicken. I'm going to use like half the breast. Have you guys noticed that almost everything in this dish, I'm just using half of it? It's almost as if this recipe would work better if you made enough for 2, but again, I don't have a big enough pan to cook the fried rice in, so we're just gonna make a serving for 1 here. These chicken cubes are roughly the same size. And then finally, we're just gonna make a sauce. If you can even really call it a sauce, there's just 2 ingredients. We're gonna put about a tablespoon of ketchup, maybe 2 tablespoons. And we're gonna put, I think this is about a teaspoon of soy sauce or tamari. I just happen to have tamari, but soy sauce is good too. And then the other important ingredient for our fried rice is obviously rice. So yeah, like I said, this is leftover jasmine rice. The type of rice doesn't matter too much. You can use whatever you have. But I have jasmine rice. So yeah, we're going to use about a cup of rice. And the thing about this recipe, even though this is fried, the majority of the calories in this recipe come from the rice. So if you want less calories, you can use a ratio of less rice and more vegetables. If you want fewer vegetables, you can use more rice. It's up to you. So about a cup of leftover rice here. Oh, and I almost forgot to mince up this jalapeno. Oh, mince. I'm gonna slice it. I'm just making like thin slices on the bias. And so again, I have all the seeds in here because I like spicy. If you don't like spicy, you can cut the seeds out because that's where most of the heat is. Or you can just skip a hot pepper if you don't like spicy. Okay, so this, I believe, if I haven't forgotten anything, this is all the ingredients for the fried rice. But just real quick, we are going to scramble up these eggs for our omelet. So we are really going to whisk the hell out of these. You want them to be really, really homogeneous. I mean, if you care about a picturesque omelet. If you care about your omelet looking really, really nice, like something out of a photo book, you really want to mix this up so there aren't white spots on it. But if that doesn't matter to you, it doesn't matter. It's all about what you want out of the food. If you don't care about how it looks, don't stress too much about making it look good. So I'm just going to put in a little bit of grapeseed oil, about a tablespoon. Whatever oil you have is fine. And unlike my previous recipes I've made on this channel, we are actually using high heat this time, guys. Is this thrilling or what? High heat. So make sure the interior of your pan is all coated. I've got my trusty heat-proof spatula here. Don't panic if I put this on the hot pan, guys. It can withstand temperatures of up to 500 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so remember how we talked about the order of what cooks fastest, or what cooks slowest to what cooks fast. We put in the slow cooking stuff first. Primary of which is this carrot plus bell pepper situation. Okay, how hot we feel. This feels pretty hot to me. Let's put it in, guys. It's not actually that hot, as it turns out. Or this would be bubbling vigorously if it was that hot, but it's not. But it's fine. So we'll just get these going. So what we're looking for here is we just want to get some color on these, and we want to soften them up so that you're not just getting hard bites of carrot inside your food. So this is going to take, I don't know, 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're going to start adding things bit by bit here. And then when you really want to get the party started, start giving it this. So you can see the flames kind of licking up the side of the pan. What's happening there is, I believe, I'm not a scientist, but I believe what's happening there is the hot oil is turning into very fine particles, and it's burning from the heat, and you get a little bit. I'm not going to say this is the same as cooking on a huge jet burner with a carbon steel wok, but you get a little bit of what's called wok hay, which is a flavor that you get from cooking things in high heat on a wok. It's got that nice, almost like barbecue-y, smoky, I don't want to say burnt because that sounds bad, but it's kind of what it is. It's kind of like a burnt, a burnt flavor, but in a good way. So these are starting to soften up real nice. So we're going to add our next guy here. And again, this is onions, garlic, and spicy jalapeno. Baby spicy jalapeno. And get this going too. I'm going to try to break up these onions into more manageable pieces because I cut them kind of big, but I'm going to give this a little... Oop, we lost a piece, boys. Rescue it. Just give this a little bit of a toss here and get these onions softening. And around this point, you should really start trying to get some color on here. We do not want these to just turn translucent and dissolve. We really want to get some color because that is going to equal flavor in the end. God, it smells so good. And by the way, I almost forgot. Add a little more salt because our onions are going to need salt. Onions love salt. They require it. Lots and lots of salt. I think I'm going to go ahead and add my rice. Make sure we get this all covered. I'm going to go ahead and throw in my chicken too. And again, the chicken is already cooked, so it pretty much just has to heat through. But if we can get a little bit of color on it from the bottom of the pan, all the better. Although this pan is looking extremely crowded, so that might not happen. Make sure that you break up these chunks of rice. You want every individual kernel of rice separate, if possible. I know it might be hard with some of them. They might hide, but that's kind of what we're going for here. God, this smells incredible. And so you can see when I sort of turn from the bottom, you can see that this bottom layer is getting really beautiful golden color. That's exactly what we want. And just in case I edit any of this section out in the final video, it's been like less than 5 minutes. It has not been that long on the heat. Because we're working with high heat, this stuff is going to cook pretty fast. Okay, so I would say I'm pretty satisfied with this level of color. We're going to go ahead and add our sauce, which again is just ketchup and soy sauce or tamari. And make sure that the entire dish here, we want to have it get coated in sauce. So I'm just going to stir this until this whole thing looks about the same color. This is a good time to taste for seasoning too, so I'm going to do that. I'll just grab a little bit of the rice and... Oh, the seasoning's great. Seasoning's perfect. Okay. Guys, I think we are pretty much done with our fried rice. Alright, so let's get this on our plate here. And then while this rice cools off a little bit, we are going to make our omelet. First, I'm gonna kind of shape our rice pile into kind of a football shape. And you will understand why by the time we're done. Another thing that I forgot when I was laying out the ingredients was butter. You can make the omelet with oil and it will totally be fine. But for me, like, omelets and the butter and omelet combination is so classic. You can really taste the butter. It just feels weird to me to have an omelet that's not made in butter. But you can totally use oil. It will be completely fine. I just love that butter taste. Toss in, I guess this is about a half to a full tablespoon of butter. This is like a half tablespoon, right? Let that get melted. Okay, so guys, while we're waiting for our pan to heat up and our butter to melt, I am going to give you a disclaimer. This dish is very, very easy and simple to make, except for the omelet. The omelet is the hard part. I have made this maybe 5 times, experimenting, trying to get this episode ready, and I would say only once have I gotten a perfect omelet. So, don't be hard on yourself if your omelet is not perfect. It will taste amazing, whether it is aesthetically perfect and pretty or not. It's going to taste amazing. And if you want an easy way to make it, what you can do is literally just put all your eggs in here and just let it sit and spread it so that it coats the inside of the pan. Wait till it's fully cooked and then dump it out on top of your rice. And that will be great, but that will not be the perfect classic French-style omelet, which is what I'm going for. I'm going for something a little chefy. So I will probably fail here. And the funny thing is, these are my final 2 eggs. If I screw this omelet up, I don't get a second chance. There's no editing magic here. This is my only shot. So if I screw this up, forgive me, but I'm going to go for it. So I think our pan is nice and hot. Dump in our eggs. And we are really going to whisk these babies like crazy. So we want tiny, tiny curds. The best way to do that is to whisk like crazy. And this is all going to happen really fast, less than a minute. Okay, so then we start tipping. I want all the curds on one side. I am pretty happy with that. We're going to take the other side, opposite all the curds, and I'm going to try to fold it in. Again, look, you can already see I'm not perfect here, but it's fine. We're going to bump this to get it up onto the inside lip of the pan, and then we're going to scoot this second half in on itself. Oh, I tore it, guys. I tore it, but I'm not going to be hard on myself. Get the second part in on itself. And now we're ready. And I know that these eggs look underdone, but the thing is they're going to finish cooking on top of our rice. So we are going to tip this up. All right, that's not bad. That's not bad. That is not the best omelet I've made, but I promise you it's far from the worst. So we want this to sit perfectly on top, and then the pièce de résistance here, pièce de résistance. Oh, see, it's it's overcooked. It's overcooked. It's a little tragic. The thing is, if you do this just perfect, this is kind of going to like open up and drape over the rice. If you do it perfect, guys, this is a do-over. If I had more eggs, this would be a do-over. But listen, again, I told you guys, it's really, really hard to get this perfect. Don't beat yourselves up if it doesn't happen. I know this is kind of ugly. But the good news is we're going to garnish it with more ketchup, because that's just how we do it. And there we go. All right, I'm a little bit sad that I didn't get my one perfect omelet on screen. I'm a little bit sad about it, but I promise you this is going to taste incredible. So let's just try to grab a nice spoonful here with a little bit of everything. All right, let's try it. It's so good. Listen, artistically, visually, it might not be perfect, but in terms of flavor, it's so good. It's so good. It's like a little bit of that heat from the pepper, the sweetness from the ketchup. You get those nice savory chicken bites. And then the soft, even though my egg is a little overcooked, you still kind of get that soft, melty curd, which is really what you're going for. That's kind of the point of the omelet, is that you get that softness to contrast with the vegetables. Anyway, guys, I'm about to eat this whole thing. If I don't be careful, I'm about to eat this whole thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the episode, guys. I think we did a little bit better than Yukiko and Rize. I think it doesn't taste boneless. That's
Hey.
Well, how do I put this? It tastes really, boneless?
We managed to not get a boneless omelet, so I think we did really good, guys. I promise you, even though the omelet part is hard, everything else about this dish is baby easy. And again, if you don't care about the look and the aesthetic, the omelet's not hard either. So I really, really highly recommend trying it at home. I promise you're going to love it. Thank you, everybody, for watching episode 3 of JMCooks. Let me know down in the comments what you want to see next episode. I would love to hear it. Bye, everybody. Have a good one.